Jada Pinkett Smith, Vanity Fair After Party Video Analysis Part 3. Hello, I'm HG Tudor, and welcome back to the sterling analysis of the footage involving Jada Pinkett Smith and members of her family, which is there to help you understand more about why she behaves as she does and to expand your knowledge about narcissism more generally. We've had some fantastic insights, allowing you to understand various facets of the narcissistic dynamic. Now, we're going to conclude this with the final part of this analysis. So let's dive straight in there.
Afterwards as well, his peers within the industry patting him on the back, checking whether he was okay, but it was a moment of an aggression, a moment where he certainly was out of control and didn't seem to be able to control that aggression during the ceremony. But here you see, he is determined to be making the most of his night, proud of the award that he's won for Best Actor, and it would seem keen to move on from the events of tonight. I mean, even earlier today we've heard LAPD being asked to give a statement about whether or not they are going to be looking into this. They've said certainly they are aware of what went on between these two gentlemen during the Academy Awards, but unless somebody makes a complaint, they won't be pursuing.
Halting the footage at 2 minutes and 49 seconds, what have we learned? Well, Smith is now being cheered by the crowd, and it demonstrates that he was and is a popular figure, notwithstanding the administration of the slap to Chris Rock. He, of course, responds to the cheers, egged on by the adoration that he's receiving. He then, as he stood there, beckons in a young lady wearing a green dress. I'm not 100% sure who this individual is, and I'm sure you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it might be Sanya Sidney, who played Venus Williams in the film, but I'm not certain about that. Notice that Smith is quite content to share his moment with her and embraces her warmly. She's thrilled to be involved, and he demonstrates his emotional empathy for this individual. Remember again that we are able to look at how he functions through his lens of emotional empathy. Were he a narcissist, this apparent gracious act wouldn't be done from a position of emotional empathy, but cognitive empathy. It would be showmanship that's done in order to make her feel special, to assert control over her, to draw her in and maintain a facade of him being Mr. Nice Guy. But because we've established through the consideration of the evidence that he is not a narcissist, and instead that he is empathic, that his behaviour is driven by emotional empathy. Remember, an empath, a narcissistic person, but who's not a narcissist, and a narcissist can all do similar things. But the driver behind why they do those things will be different. So here, his involvement of this young lady, hugging her, bringing her in on the pictures, is part of the demonstration of his emotional empathy. He is able to engage with her. There's no standoffishness. There's no, this is my moment, you stay away. He brings her in. An assistant then approaches Will Smith to usher him along, and we can see that Obi-Wan Pinkett Smith in the background has been continuing on her own to drink in the fuel. Again, notice she remains largely unsmiling, and she doesn't once look across at Will Smith. She is in her world. He, in that moment, isn't on her radar. It's as if he doesn't exist, and there's no need for her to control him, because while she stood there on her own, looking towards the press pack, he has gone off the radar. And in her world, the people that need to be controlled are those in front of her, the press pack, those tertiary sources. And she's able to see that they're under control because they're calling out her name, they're taking pictures of her. Nobody's turning their back on her. Nobody's flipping the bird to her. Nobody's going, fuck me, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi's turned out a bit different, hasn't he? And insulting her. Nobody's doing any of that. The calling of the name, the pointing to her, the taking her picture, all provides her with fuel, large amounts of it, albeit not particularly potent because it comes from tertiary sources, and she stands there drinking it in. It also enables you to compare the reactions of the three people in this section of footage. The reaction of Will Smith to the adoration that he receives is to almost engage in a call and response. He shows his genuine excitement at what's going on. The young lady, who I think is Sanya Sidney, or whoever it is, responds with excitement also. Oh my goodness, I'm next to Will Smith. He's holding an Oscar. This is great. This is really exciting to be here. Genuine delight at what's occurring. And then the sense of entitlement of Obi-Wan Jada Pinkett Smith. Drinking in the fuel makes her feel powerful, but there's no real smiling. There is just quite simply the entitlement of, you guys are here for me, I'm important, I'm magnificent, you should be praising me, you should be taking my picture. There's no warmth exuding from her. There is that cold, imperious, arrogant, haughty exterior which attributes to her facade of superiority, which is commensurate, as I've told you, with the subschool of narcissist that she is. And if you want to know which subschool of narcissist she is and which cadre she is, all you need to do is either go to the Knowledge Vault, details you can find in the video description, and find that particular video, or become a channel member. And by being a channel member, that gives you access to a number of videos. I have noticed in the comments that some people have said, where do I find that School and Cadre video, HG? Well, you need to be a member for it, and it gives you access to a range of excellent videos. But look at the comparison of the reactions of those three people, and that tells you its own story.
Any further, but yeah, it was a moment of violence, a moment of rage from somebody who certainly within the industry has a reputation as being one of Hollywood's nice guys. Here he is, out smiling, trying to carry on as normal.
First time he's won an Oscar.
Well, he has won an Oscar, 30 years, and he's had to wait for this. And I suppose if you've waited 30 years, you do want to have your moment. But certainly this evening didn't go the way that he would have liked, didn't go the way he wanted to plan. He would have planned. But I think it is very telling, Kay, that he's been out here with the whole of the family. He wanted to show.
Pausing at 3 minutes and 40 seconds, Will Smith has now moved further along, continuing to enjoy the attention and posing with the Oscar. An assistant indicates for him to move along, and he does so. There's no haughtiness being demonstrated by him. He stops again for more photos. Notice in the background that the assistant, who was beckoning him along, is smiling away. There's also a brown-haired lady in the background that's grinning with delight. The Smith clan are stood around, and then we can see Jada Pinkett Smith demonstrating her haughty face. Why is this? Well, she looks across and sees Will Smith drinking in the adoration from all of these people. And because his attention is focused elsewhere and other people's attention is on him, that signals to her that she doesn't matter, that she's unimportant. She doesn't think to herself that she's unimportant, that she doesn't matter, but at the core of her, in that unconscious, she is made to feel weak, vulnerable, as if she doesn't matter. And her narcissism then has to leap to her defense, as it does as that self-defense mechanism, to tackle that sensation. And it does so, of course, by generating a feeling and a thought within her. And the feeling is one of dismissive arrogance, haughtiness, where no doubt she can't say anything because of the facade management. So she's not able to shout across to him, all right, lugs, stop showing off, get your ass back here. Facade won't let that happen. She could, of course, smear him to those around her, and who knows, she might have done, but I suspect that it's unlikely, again because of facade management. And instead, she has to think in her head, oh, look at him, thinking he's the bee's knees, thinking he's Charlie Big Bananas, drinking it all in. Oh yes, Mr. Biggie with it. And in her own mind, she puts him down, which is her narcissism essentially asserting control over him by staying in a position of withdrawal and denigrating him. And because the narcissism with the facade, can't fight it to the entirety. That's why we see that sour-faced look once again. We see that she issues some instructions to Grey Hat Man. Don't know what all of that was about, may never know, and simply don't care. But the facial expressions that she exhibits is again where the facade is struggling to ensure that she maintains that outward appearance all through this. She's looked imperious and haughty. Now, there'll be some people who are uneducated about narcissism will say, well, she's pissed off, isn't she? Her husband has just slapped the chops of Chris Rock. They might have had a row and she's in a mood about it. No, that's completely incorrect. This is the manifestation of her narcissism responding and demonstrating her facade of superiority rather than one of warmth. Because the narcissism is struggling to adopt such a facade in light of the repeated threats to control that she's experiencing, occasioned by the fact that this is her husband's big night, and all eyes are on him.
That he had his family certainly wanted to show that he had their backing and their support. I mean, we still don't entirely know what this came down to. We know that his wife Jada has very publicly been speaking about her own alopecia, her own hair loss, and it would seem that Chris Rock perhaps had made reference to a joke like that. You can see perhaps as a loyal husband, maybe that's what tipped him over the edge, but it was a very aggressive moment, and certainly a moment that we wouldn't expect to see from someone in his position. But yeah, totally unexpected really, Kay, that he has turned up here tonight after really what was a very, very strange Oscars ceremony.
And so we come to the end of this particular footage from Sky News, and more pictures are taken of Will Smith. She remains in the background, and then finally he walks over to his family, and then they depart, going into the party where I think he threw some shapes, etc. on the dance floor. As always, the footage provides us with an excellent opportunity to see the dynamic between a narcissist and the various appliances in the fuel matrix, how the need for control is near constant as a consequence of the interactions that are occurring, instances where control is being given, where it's being threatened, and you see the response of the narcissism. Invariably, the interpretation of body language in such circumstances isn't done as against that backdrop of narcissism, and therefore people get it wrong. Instead, you are now party to what those driving behaviours are. And those driving behaviours, for Jada Pinkett Smith, originate from her narcissism, which causes her to behave in a particular way, causes her to assert control, respond in certain instances. So rather than you think, oh, she's just a huffy-faced cow, or she's got a mood on, or she's in high dudgeon about her husband's behaviour, you understand fully. And it's this kind of material that you won't get anywhere else, this level of insight that's explained to you in terms that are direct and easy to understand, that it provides you with a key to unlock much of human behaviour in your own life, so that you can determine what these people around you are up to. And of course, where you may have any uncertainty about it, you can always come and consult with me, the expert. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening. Please ensure you like this video. If you've not already subscribed, please do so and turn on your notifications, and share this video as much as you can. Thank you.